pretty interesting article written by Susan Lazurk in the Vancouver Sun today reads, "Man bequeathed expensive Vancouver property loses lawsuit against realtor for lost profits." So Mrs. Reed included in her will that Stanley could purchase the house upon her death for 50% of its value. Now, Stanley purchased the home for $4.5 million at the time. Now, Mr. Stanley did grow up in the Southlands and had a very close relationship with Mrs. Reed. He even went as far as calling her aunt. He lived with her in her last years, caring for the property and caring for her while she battled dementia. After she passed away, Mr. Stanley had to borrow a bunch of money in order to afford the property. This was no average property. This was a massive 4-acre property in the Southlands, which is one of the most expensive areas in all of Vancouver. When the property did sell, it sold for $7.5 million, which was half of the listed price. Mr. Stanley put the blame on the realtor and said that he acted in negligence. Now, the realtor listed the 4-acre property that had its own equestrian stable for $13.8 million. Mr. Stanley also said that the realtor was negligent for not advising him on strata restrictions on development. Mr. Stanley originally filed a lawsuit in BC Supreme Court asking for $1.6 million in damages from the realtor and his company. In the suit, it was revealed that by the time the property was sold, Mr. Stanley was in financial distress, resulting in his selling of the property for under market value. And as a result of that, Mr. Stanley was seeking $1,150,000, the difference between the fair market value and what he sold for. He also was seeking $45,000 a month in interest charges he paid on his loan for the estimated 10 extra months the property took to sell. Many years later, and much litigation, first in BC Supreme Court, where he lost his lawsuit against the realtor. Now, the Supreme Court found the realtor did breach his duty by failing to get legal advice or by not recommending to Mr. Stanley to do so. The Supreme Court also found that the breach did not cause Mr. Stanley's damages. The Supreme Court judge said there was no evidence to show that Stanley lost money because of this breach. The courts dismissed the appeal, stating that Mr. Stanley failed to identify a legal error in the lower court's decision. If you like real estate content, give my channel a follow, like this video for more, and for the full article, go to the Vancouver Sun.